Welcome back to Dark Sense, where we delve into the most chilling and mysterious true crime stories that haunt the annals of history. Tonight, we embark on an in-depth exploration of one of the most elusive and notorious criminals in American history, the Golden State Killer. From his troubled childhood to the reign of terror that gripped California, and ultimately to his capture and conviction, we unravel the dark tapestry of a man who evaded justice for decades. Join us as we delve into the life and crimes of Joseph James DeAngelo Jr., the infamous Golden State Killer. Joseph James DeAngelo Jr. was born on November 8, 1945, in Bath, New York. He was the eldest of four children in a family marked by turmoil and dysfunction. His father, Joseph DeAngelo Sr., was a U.S. Army sergeant known for his strict discipline, while his mother, Kathleen Bosanko, struggled to maintain stability at home. The family moved frequently due to his father's military career, which took them across the United States and even overseas. During his childhood, DeAngelo experienced significant upheaval. Reports suggest that his family life was marred by violence and abuse. Some accounts indicate that DeAngelo witnessed traumatic events at a young age, which may have contributed to deep-seated psychological issues. The constant relocations and lack of a stable home environment likely exacerbated feelings of isolation and resentment. By the time DeAngelo reached adolescence, his parents had divorced, and he returned to the United States with his mother and siblings. They settled in Rancho Cordova, a suburb of Sacramento, California. The family faced financial hardships, and DeAngelo's relationship with his mother was strained. He attended Folsom High School, where he was described by classmates as quiet and unremarkable, often fading into the background. In 1964, at the age of 18, DeAngelo enlisted in the U.S. Navy. He served during the Vietnam War as a damage controlman aboard the USS Canberra and later the USS Piedmont. His military service provided structure and discipline, but it also exposed him to the stresses and traumas associated with wartime experiences. After serving for 22 months, DeAngelo received an honorable discharge in 1967. Upon returning to civilian life, DeAngelo pursued higher education. He enrolled at Sierra College in Rocklin, California, where he earned an associate degree in police science with honors in 1970. Demonstrating a keen interest in law enforcement, he continued his studies at California State University, Sacramento, obtaining a bachelor's degree in criminal justice in 1972. His academic achievements suggested a promising career ahead, but beneath the surface, darker impulses were festering. In 1973, DeAngelo began working as a police officer in Exeter, California, a small farming community near Visalia. He served as a burglary unit officer, applying his education and training to combat property crimes. Colleagues and superiors considered him competent and reliable, unaware of the sinister activities that would soon plague the region. During his tenure in Exeter, the neighboring town of Visalia experienced a surge in burglaries attributed to an unknown perpetrator dubbed the Visalia Ransacker. Between 1974 and 1975, over 100 homes were broken into. The ransacker didn't simply steal valuables. He vandalized properties, rummaged through personal belongings, and created scenes of disarray. Items of sentimental value were often taken, while more expensive possessions were left behind. The community was gripped by fear, and law enforcement was under pressure to apprehend the culprit. Despite extensive investigations, the Visalia ransacker remained elusive. It wasn't until decades later that authorities suspected DeAngelo's involvement, noting similarities in modus operandi with later crimes. In 1976, DeAngelo transferred to the Auburn Police Department near Sacramento. Around the same time, a series of heinous crimes began unfolding in the region. An assailant known as the East Area Rapist terrorized suburban neighborhoods, breaking into homes during the night. He meticulously stalked his victims, learning their routines and the layouts of their homes. The intruder would enter through unlocked windows or doors, or by prying them open, often leaving little trace of forced entry. The East Area Rapist instilled terror through his calculated approach. He would awaken his victims with a flashlight shone into their eyes, disorienting them while issuing threats to ensure compliance. Binding his victims with ligatures, he demonstrated control and dominance. The attacks were characterized by a level of planning and forethought that confounded investigators. As the number of incidents grew, so did public fear. Community meetings were held and residents took measures to secure their homes. The media covered the crimes extensively, putting additional pressure on law enforcement. Despite increased patrols and surveillance, the assailant managed to evade capture. In 1979, D'Angelo's law enforcement career came to an abrupt end. He was caught shoplifting a hammer and dog repellent from a drugstore in Citrus Heights. These items, seemingly innocuous, took on a more sinister implication in retrospect. D'Angelo was arrested and subsequently fired from the Auburn Police Department for his misconduct. The loss of his job marked a turning point. D'Angelo's marriage to Sharon Huddle, an attorney whom he had married in 1973, was already strained. The couple had 3 daughters, but D'Angelo's erratic behavior and possible infidelities contributed to marital discord. They separated in 1991, although they did not officially divorce until many years later. Following his dismissal from the police force, D'Angelo's crimes escalated in both frequency and severity. From 1979 to 1986, a series of murders occurred in Southern California, committed by an assailant known as the original Night Stalker. The perpetrator targeted couples in their homes, often attacking during the night. The crimes were marked by extreme violence and showed a level of premeditation that suggested a sophisticated offender. The original Night Stalker exhibited behaviors similar to the East Area Rapist, including meticulous planning, stalking victims, and using ligatures. However, the crimes had escalated to include homicide, intensifying the urgency of the investigations. Despite efforts by law enforcement, the assailant remained unidentified. The geographical spread of the crimes, coupled with limited communication between different law enforcement agencies, hindered the ability to connect the cases. It wasn't until years later that advancements in forensic science would reveal the chilling truth. The impact of the crimes on California communities was profound. Residents altered their lifestyles, installing security systems, adopting guard dogs, and organizing neighborhood watch programs. The sense of safety and tranquility that once characterized suburban life was shattered. Media coverage fueled public anxiety, and the assailant seemed to relish the notoriety. Reports surfaced of taunting phone calls made to previous victims, indicating a desire to instill ongoing fear. The psychological torment extended beyond the physical attacks, leaving lasting scars on the victims and their families. For decades, the identity of the East Area Rapist and the original Night Stalker remained a mystery. The cases eventually went cold, but they were never forgotten. Investigators persisted, driven by a commitment to bring justice to the victims. In the early 2000s, DNA analysis became a pivotal tool in criminal investigations. Samples collected from various crime scenes were re-examined using advanced forensic techniques. In 2001, authorities confirmed that the East Area Rapist and the original Night Stalker were the same person, now collectively referred to as the Golden State Killer. Despite this breakthrough, the perpetrator's identity remained unknown. The lack of a match in criminal databases meant that the assailant had managed to avoid detection through conventional means. A significant development occurred in 2018 when investigators turned to genetic genealogy, an innovative method that combines DNA analysis with genealogical research. By uploading the Golden State Killer's DNA profile to public genealogy websites, detectives identified distant relatives who had submitted their genetic information. Through painstaking construction of family trees and elimination of potential suspects based on age, location, and other factors, investigators narrowed down the possibilities. This process led them to Joseph James D'Angelo Jr., whose history and residences aligned with the timelines and locations of the crimes. To confirm their suspicions, law enforcement conducted covert surveillance of D'Angelo. They collected discarded items, such as a tissue from his garbage, to obtain a DNA sample without his knowledge. Laboratory analysis provided the definitive match needed to proceed with an arrest. On April 24, 2018, authorities apprehended D'Angelo at his home in Citrus Heights. Neighbors were astonished. Many described him as a somewhat reclusive, but seemingly ordinary man. The revelation that he was allegedly responsible for a series of heinous crimes spanning over a decade shocked the community. Following his arrest, D'Angelo was charged with 13 counts of murder and 13 counts of kidnapping. Due to the statute of limitations, he could not be charged with the numerous sexual assaults attributed to the Golden State Killer. However, victims were given the opportunity to provide impact statements during court proceedings. In June 2020, D'Angelo pleaded guilty to all charges as part of a plea agreement to avoid the death penalty. During the hearings, survivors and family members recounted the trauma and devastation caused by his actions. D'Angelo, appearing frail and using a wheelchair, offered a brief apology but showed little emotion. In August 2020, he was sentenced to 11 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. The judge condemned his crimes as monstrous, acknowledging the enduring pain inflicted upon countless individuals. The conviction of Joseph D'Angelo brought a measure of closure to victims and their families. The decades-long pursuit of justice highlighted the resilience and determination of law enforcement in the community. The case also underscored the profound advancements in forensic science and investigative techniques. The use of genetic genealogy in solving the case sparked discussions about privacy and ethical considerations. While many applauded the innovative approach, concerns were raised about the potential implications for personal genetic data and the need for regulatory oversight. D'Angelo's crimes left an indelible mark on the fabric of California's history. The fear he instilled altered the way communities viewed safety and trust. His ability to live undetected for so long serves as a stark reminder of the complexities involved in criminal investigations. Understanding D'Angelo's motivations and psychological makeup remains a subject of interest for criminologists and psychologists. His background in law enforcement suggests a possible exploitation of insider knowledge to evade capture. The dichotomy of his public persona and hidden life raises questions about the nature of evil and the capacity for individuals to compartmentalize their actions. Interviews with those who knew him offer little insight. Colleagues and acquaintances often described him as aloof or temperamental, but did not suspect him of such heinous acts. The secrecy and meticulous planning that characterize his crimes indicate a high level of control and a desire for dominance. The case of the Golden State Killer has influenced law enforcement practices and policies. It has prompted agencies to collaborate more effectively across jurisdictions and to embrace new technologies in criminal investigations. The success of genetic genealogy has led to its use in solving other cold cases, although it continues to prompt ethical debates. For the survivors, the journey toward healing continues. Many have found solace in sharing their stories and supporting one another. The courage they have shown in confronting their past serves as an inspiration and a testament to human resilience. The story of Joseph James D'Angelo Jr. is a chilling exploration of a man who led a double life, evading justice while inflicting immeasurable pain. His ability to hide in plain sight challenges our perceptions of those around us and underscores the importance of vigilance. As we reflect on this dark chapter, we honor the victims and acknowledge the tireless efforts of those who sought justice. The advancements in forensic science and the dedication of investigators ultimately brought a predator to account for his actions. The tale of the Golden State Killer is a profound narrative of terror, perseverance, and the pursuit of justice. It highlights the depths of human depravity and the enduring strength of those who faced unimaginable horrors. We invite you to share your thoughts on this case in the comments below. How do you feel about the use of genetic genealogy in solving crimes? What lessons can be learned from this prolonged investigation? If you found this comprehensive exploration insightful, please give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Dark Sense. Your support enables us to continue delving into the world's most compelling true crime stories. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay curious, and keep seeking the truth.